I'm Daniel, and I head up the education mission at Code Your Future. We offer a free training program to people in poverty to try and get them good jobs in tech. My personal goal is to only produce people from our program that I myself would want to hire. And I like to think I have pretty high standards. I was a staff engineer and manager at places like Google and Apple and Twitter, and my focus was on internal developer experience. It's taking some of the best engineers in the world, working out how can we get you a little more productive, get you a little better at what you do. And it's been very clear from all the talks we've had today, from everything that's happening in our industry at the moment, that AI is changing software. We can't deny that, but my claim is it's not changing things as much as we pretend it is. We have people talking about how this is a brand new industry, we have to rethink how we do everything, and I'm not sure that's true. As an example, agentic coding is definitely new. Writing a spec for a feature and having a robot hand me fully working code, pretty new thing. But working with a team isn't new. Right? There's a lot of stuff that's very similar to when one of my colleagues hands me a new feature. I want to review it. I may trust it more or less, depending on what kind of problem they're solving and how much experience they have solving that kind of problem before. There are some things that are definitely different. The robot will be faster at producing me code. I maybe don't have to be quite as polite in my feedback. I'm not as confident that the LLM or the agent will learn from my feedback on this PR and apply it to the next one. There are definitely some things that are different, but there's a lot of stuff that's very similar to existing skills we already have and ways that we work. LLM APIs are new, but APIs aren't. Same core skills, some modifications. LLM ops is new. Honestly, it's pretty much ops with a little less determinism and a few more big files we need to pass around. AI is definitely changing things. But change isn't new. We're in an industry that changes all the time. Right? There's always a new language or a new framework or a new paradigm or a new way that we're approaching things. And I think we need to remember that. We're making smaller changes than we think. We'll talk about how we teach at Code Your Future and how we think about new technology and new change. We're a very goal-oriented organization. Our goal is to get people into jobs. Someone completing our course isn't success for us. Until they're in a job and thriving in a job, we keep working with them, we keep supporting them, we keep helping them learn and grow. Our core focus is on learning to learn. And I love everything Hal was just saying about mental models. It's about understanding the core. It's about working out not just to be taught some steps, some tips and tricks, but how to think and how to expand what you know. And so we've been adapting to AI in how we teach, but we haven't had to adapt that much, because we were already teaching people how to learn new things, how to go beyond what we were teaching them. Let me give you an example. This is Andrei. Andrei is one of our students. He grew up in Russia, and he knew his whole life he wanted to be a software engineer. War broke out a few years ago, and it disrupted his education. He was a teenager. And he eventually found himself in the UK without the kind of standard qualifications you'd use to get into our industry. He learned programming through Code Your Future. And as part of that, he got lots of code review from industry professionals. We're a volunteer organization, and we give a lot of feedback on exercises people do. And because these are people in industry giving that feedback, the feedback they give naturally adapts as people's working style does, as people get used to things like AI. Now, at the time he did our course, we didn't teach him anything about AI. We've since added some content. We're building up some of those mental models that are really important. But at the time he did the course, there was none of that. But when he finished the course, we hired him to build us an LLM code reviewer. Now, humans still review every trainee piece of work at Code Your Future, but they were wasting a lot of time on low-hanging fruit. People were spending a lot of time identifying duplicate code or badly named variables, stuff LLMs are pretty good at spotting. And so he could put together this tool that saves our humans time so they can focus on what humans are really good at. And the theme I really want to pull out here is that importance of learning to learn. We didn't teach him how to refine a prompt. We didn't teach him how to avoid blowing out a context window or how to avoid token limits. We gave him a problem. And because he'd learned how to learn, because he'd learned how to go beyond what we taught him, he could work out how to solve that problem. I think for all of us, as we're trying to grow our organizations, we need to think, how are we hiring? I think most of our hiring practices wouldn't have hired Andrei to write us an AI tool. They should have, though. He's been really good at it. There's a gap there somewhere. We'll talk to you about another of our graduates, Leili. Leili's fantastic. She grew up in Iran. She was an English teacher. When she grew up, she didn't really have much experience with computers. She found herself in the UK, and she joined Code Your Future wanting to learn about computers, thinking about becoming a software engineer. She was surprised, though. She actually found through the course, she really loved the more business analyst style work. She really loved getting the people together, making sure we're all on the same page, making sure we're actually solving the right problem together. Now, she's good at writing code. Like, she did our course. She's great at that. But this was the thing she was really excited about. We've worked with Capgemini, one of our partners, for a long time, and they've hired more than 100 of the people we've trained into software roles. They're a great partner. We love working with them. They love working with our graduates. And conveniently, they reached out to us saying, hey, we've never done this before, but we actually need some BAs. Have you got anyone we should talk to? We go, yeah, 100%. We have a broad community of people from a range of different backgrounds and roles in our volunteer group. And we could put together a really short, bespoke training course to take someone who already had this software knowledge and experience from our training and train those specific techniques needed to get into that role. Now she and 3 or 4 others are thriving as really technical BAs, having wonderful jobs, doing fantastic things. And the thing I want to call out for us all here is the reason we could do that is we got to know Leili really well. We're a part-time course to fit around the fact that people have lives and jobs and things going on. And so our course, on average, is about a year end-to-end for someone to be with us. So we knew Leili really well. When Capgemini came to us and said, we want some BAs, we could hand them the number of people they wanted to interview, and we could guess which ones they were going to accept. Compare that to sifting through 1,000 CVs or apply through LinkedIns that you get. That personalized connection and knowledge really helps to get the right person in the right role. The last story I want to tell you about is Ameneh. Ameneh's fantastic. She's really smart. And she really wanted to get into software. And she normally did everything right. She did a bachelor's in computing. She did a master's in computing. And I'll be honest with you, they kind of let her down. Courses didn't really challenge her. They didn't talk about multiple ways to approach a problem or trade-offs. They didn't really review much of her work. The courses that she did lacked a lot of depth. They were quite shallow. She wasn't really taught much by her practical skills. Across both those degrees, she didn't write a single test. She didn't do any teamwork. She didn't know what Git was. She didn't really know how to look for jobs or how to interview. She joined Code Your Future, and we helped her grow her skills a little bit, but honestly, she knew her stuff. We helped her grow in her confidence, and the biggest thing that we did was we helped her grow in that adaptability, that confidence and knowledge and ability to go beyond the things that you've been taught and work out what you need to solve a problem. Now, I'm really pleased to be able to share with this community that we're really pleased to be a part of a success story out of Lead Dev. I gave a talk at Lead Dev Berlin last November. If you follow the QR code, you can watch it. The pitch was basically, so many engineering managers are struggling to hire that perfect senior engineer right now. They think, I need someone who has exactly this experience and exactly this experience and exactly this experience. And they spend 3 or 6 or 9 or 12 months searching and sifting through CVs and interviewing and interviewing and interviewing and not finding that perfect person. My pitch was simple. I have a bunch of early career engineers who are really adaptable and will learn really quickly. Try hiring one of them instead. Straight after that talk, a VP of engineering came and approached us and said, that really resonates with me. I've been trying to find someone for this really specific Kafka role for a while. Who you got? They interviewed Ameneh. They loved Ameneh. They hired Ameneh, no question. Now she's thriving in a great job, delivering a bunch of new tech that she's never used before. And I was really excited. A couple of weeks ago, that VP called us up and said, hey, we love Ameneh. We actually need another one. Who have you got? And so thank you so much to Lead Dev for helping to make this happen. The big lesson I think we can all take from this is we need to adapt our hiring strategies. If I think back 15, 20 years ago, our industry was overly focused on pedigree. right? You wanted someone with the right degree from the right short list of universities. And I'm so grateful that we've mostly moved past that. Now we're looking for what have you done? What's your experience? And that is much better. It's a much better predictor of success. But I'm sure we've all had someone on our team who's done a lot of really impressive stuff and struggles to adapt when the industry changes or when the team needs change. So I think we all need to start thinking less about what have you done and more about what can you do? Where will you go? Now, I'll be at the speaker hours afterwards, and we have a booth out in the hall. I'd love for people to come talk to me about who it is that you're struggling to hire. Maybe we can have a talk about how we can start helping you hire for what people can do rather than what they've done, and help you find your Ameneh too. Thank you so much.